Welcome to This Week in College Hockey. I'm saying that once, but in Dallas, Texas, Jess will be saying it twice. He's echoing all of his words, but we can't hear his echo, but he can. How you doing today, Jess?
I'm doing well. No, okay.
And
I'm doing great, guys. I'm in Dallas. I'm getting ready to cover the Wild playing the Stars tonight, but happy to talk about all the wild things that happened in college hockey last weekend.
it was incredible. Sydney,
Yeah.
how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's been an entertaining day already.
Yeah,
But I will say being here has made my day better. I had a chaotic morning, and now we're here, and I feel more zen and ready to talk about hockey. Feeling good.
all right. It took us. The show is going to be shorter than us preparing to get
Yes.
Jess's microphone up and running. But other than that, it's going to be a great show.
Yeah, for anyone listening, context, we were supposed to record at 2, and it's 3:22 right now.
It's 11
So
o'clock at
we're
night.
doing really good.
The Wild won in a shootout tonight. That's my prediction, right? And
Well, I
Jess
gotta
is
get
here
writing
after
then,
that.
sorry.
Yeah, you better start getting on that story.
Oh, gosh.
How about that game last night? Oh, you weren't there. You were on your way to Dallas, weren't you?
No, I got into Dallas early and managed to sit at the hotel bar. Had a nice chicken torta because we're Tex-Mex, we're here in Texas, and I watched the game on my iPad. So
Yeah, it was a comfortable 3-0 lead. I took my eye off the game, and next thing I know, it's 3-2, and they scored with like 40 seconds left, right, to tie it.
interesting little note, by the way, since we're talking college hockey. I talked to former Boston University goalie Jake Ottinger today at the Stars morning skate because Jesper Wallstedt yesterday gets his first shootout win, and they said, how much scouting had you done on the Kings? How did you guys' tendencies, what's Kevin Fiala going to do in a shootout? He said none of it. He didn't study any of it. He doesn't want any of that pre-knowledge. He wants to just watch the shooter come in. He wants to react. He wants to do that kind of thing. Talking to Ottinger, he said, yeah, same thing. You overthink if you have all these scouting reports. So not to discount what the coaches do and all the scouting, but goalies generally in shootouts say they just want to play it live and see what happens.
I don't blame them
Makes
for that,
sense.
actually.
Yeah.
It's kind of like golf. It's like having 12 swing thoughts before you hit the ball off the tee. Like, I don't want any swing
It might
thoughts,
help,
right?
but it might just freak you out.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with
Yeah.
you on that. So,
And I brought up, TJ Oshie had 27 different shootout moves. So how do you scout a guy like that?
Yeah, I knew we'd get back to World before within 5 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes.
Where's that?
We're under 5 minutes and we get to a World reference. It always
You
happens.
mentioned Warroad, I didn't.
Yeah.
All right, Sydney. It was a crazy weekend.
Yeah.
Actually, if you count Thursday, it was a lot of craziness between Thursday and Sunday. Lots of Minnesota kids scoring, lots of Minnesota teams winning, lots of them losing.
Yeah.
North Dakota looks good. Lots to talk about. So just lay it on us, and we will just pipe in as you think necessary.
Yeah, I'll quick run through some of the craziest ones, and then if we have thoughts, you guys can chime in. But yeah, starting off Thursday was like a weird day. It was
I
one
think
of
it's
those
weird
days where-
too. It's totally weird. Thursdays.
Yeah, it was one of those days where I was offline doing a bunch of other stuff. I wasn't online or watching any games because I was really busy Thursday night. And then all of a sudden, I get in bed, I check my phone because I want to, see what's going on, check some scores, and I'm just like, oh, it was one of those nights. I was like, oh my god, just looking at all these updates, and I was like,
So
oh
many
my
games
goodness.
Thursday.
And just some of the craziest ones too. Penn State splits with Clarkson. That's interesting. Ferris beats Western Michigan. They split, but they won a
On
game, which
Thursday.
is big. And New Hampshire beat Michigan State one night as well. So those were like the three really big eye poppers. And just a couple notables from those games too. And then if you guys have things you want to chime in on, you can. But
I had a tweet on Thursday night, and I hadn't even the Gophers weren't on there. I don't think the Gophers are biggest player in NIL, but if you think about the big NIL players, it was Michigan State and Penn State. And they both lost. And I'm like, so much for NIL separating the pack, right? That was the gist of the tweet. And then later you take all three of the scores, and it's like, wow, the Big Ten sure took a dump, this week.
Yeah, and Ferris, a team that hasn't been good in a long time, beats the reigning national champs in one game. So not what anyone expected either. But just
can I throw out a theory there? By the way,
love it. Here we go.
Well, Ferris State. First of all, new coach Brett Riley. Congrats, first win as the coach of the Bulldogs. Number 2, they're playing Western Michigan in Kalamazoo. It's the banner raising night. National champions. All the hype, all of the spotlights and light shows and all that.
Lawson Loonies.
The road team always wins those games.
I know.
First game at a new arena. First game at Mariucci. Who won? Michigan Tech. First game at the Ralph in Grand Forks.
Gophers.
Minnesota.
Yep.
First game at Amsoil. Who won? North Dakota. You know why? Because
weird.
the road team just gets to show up and play hockey. They don't have to pay attention to any of the crap. They just have to sit in their locker room, wait till all the stuff is over, and then go play a hockey game. They don't have to worry about any of the alumni and the banner and blah, 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 blah. So congrats to Ferris. You did what you were supposed to do.
Yeah, well, some other interesting notables about the Ferris Western split. Big week for Gavin Best, who I know, Tony, you said you could talk about too a little bit, but he had a big week, and he had that game-winning goal for them technically on Thursday. So cool to see him get that, and then their Stonehill transfer for Ferris had 2 goals, so that's pretty crazy. Minnesotan Hobie Hedquist also played really well in that win, so shout out to him as well. And even in that, the Ferris win, Western outshot them 50-18, and they still won.
I love it.
A couple Minnesotans playing good roles.
So
in that.
Gavin is kind of our APX. He's a client of the APX advisory team, Hunter Warner. And quick story on Gavin, and I could tell lots. He started off in Minneapolis. He started off in Richfield playing with Ryan here, and then ended up playing his youth hockey in Minneapolis with Joey Miller and Will Svendal and all those kids. And here's a memory, Gavin Best, and he has scored one of the most, I would say, famous section final goals in high school history. It was Benilde versus Blake in the section final, and he gets hauled down from behind, basically tackled at Mariucci, and he scored a shootout game-winning goal. Not a shootout, a penalty shot game-winning goal to send Blake to state. That's Gavin Best.
Yeah, it's cool to see him get that too, because you look at, he went to Michigan State, probably was kind of buried on the roster, tough roster, and then transfers to Ferris, had almost 20 points last year, had 10 goals, and now this year's got 3 goals in 4 games, and is a captain. I think is the captain.
Yeah, well, he is captain material if you've ever met the kid. He walked out of one of our interviews for state tournament, and Danny and I were like, whoa, that kid's going to go somewhere without doubt.
Yeah, and Hobie Hedquist, a big night, so that's cool. And I also sent you, this is kind of a funny tangent. Ferris also has a goalie named Mason West. Can we just talk about why is there so many Mason Wests in hockey?
Where, did you ever? I sent you there's a Bantam kid at St. Michael, but
why is there
another one?
Yes, there's multiple on Elite Prospects. I'm like, what is with the name Mason West? Why are there so many?
Gosh,
and they're like not related either.
And there's
like,
a kid playing in juniors or any NCAA. I'm not sure his name's Tanner Morgan, the same name as the former Gopher quarterback. I'm like, come on, let's get some more original names.
It says
here.
There's also a 2008 Ford Mason West playing for the Salt Lake Stars as well.
Here we go.
Another one for Southern Illinois University Edwardsville.
That's got to be ACHA team.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm like, what is with the Mason West?
Well, there's one.
I've told the Minnesota Wild broadcasters this. When Nicholas Backstrom was their goalie, I was really hoping that the Wild would trade for the other Nicholas Backstrom just to mess up.
Have multiple.
To mess up the broadcasters.
Yeah.
That reminds me of my kids when they were in elementary school, and every parent named their kid Nick or Amelia. They'd be like, oh, it's Nick B, Nick G, Nick D, Nick T. That's how they had to do it. I don't know how you would do it with Nick Backstrom, though. How you would done
I graduated
with those
with
guys.
59 kids from high school. There are 59 in my high school class. I won't say where because
we don't know
no
where.
One knows.
It's a mystery.
No way. There's trouble there. 59 kids in my high school class of 1987. 4 of them named Michelle. So.
Wow.
Winter of 68, 69, Michelle was a real popular.
It must have been. Speaking of that high school, when did the new high school get built, the one that's sitting on those grounds at that high school in that town we don't know the name of? What year was that?
I was the first class to graduate from the new high school.
Really? So it's that old?
It opened in the fall of 86.
Because it looks brand new.
Thank you, Tony. Yes, I'm that old. Thank you.
No, it looks brand new. The school still looks in really good shape. That's all I'm saying.
They've done a nice job.
Well, just one more thing about the Western Michigan. I was surprised, too, that they split with Ferris because if you look at their line charts, you guys, some of these lines, I'm just like, these are good rosters because their first 3 lines, like line 1, Zachariah Wisdom, Owen Michaels, Will Whitelaw. Solid line.
Very good, yes.
Line 2, Liam Valente, I think is how you say his name, Grant Slukinski, Zach Nearing. Very good line. Line 3, Bobby Cowan, Eero Hakkarainen, who's from Finland, and Ty Henriks. Like, they just have some solid lines. So
I know a lot of those kids.
I still think Western's going to be really good because their D-core, too, I'm looking at, I'm like, oh, that's a good player. I'm just like, maybe it was the Banner Night curse.
I think it's the Banner curse.
They got a good roster still, and obviously they got Hammer in that still, so they got plenty of good pieces still. I don't think
Where's Hammer from?
Oh, I don't know. Gee.
It always comes back to that one little town.
Somewhere in Canada?
It's close to Canada. I think it's close to Canada.
But that was one of the big ones.
Speaking of Hammer, by the way.
Yeah.
I noticed in my photo memories or my online memories, I don't know if you can see that. 3 years ago today, on Instagram,
Northern Michigan.
He was committed to Northern Michigan.
Wow.
What might have been.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
You know what's funny about that town? You don't get a Canadian greeting when you arrive in that town. But if you go to International Falls, you get a Canadian greeting on your cell phone. Every time I've been to I Falls twice in the last 3 years, and it's like, I am not in Canada. I am not in Canada. I know where I am. Not quite. Yeah,
well, your phone connects, you get the welcome to
Canada
roaming message.
I don't get that when I'm in that other town, the one you're from. So
anywhere on the Red River, on the Rainy River.
You're close.
If you make that drive between Baudette and International Falls, you get that because you're close enough.
Yep, close enough. Exactly.
Well, another game we already mentioned a little bit. Penn State splits with Clarkson. Obviously, a lot of people who might be newer to college hockey were like very shocked, where some of us who are more seasoned college hockey fans know that it's not that shocking when huge upsets happen. But I saw some Penn State fans who were like, oh, the world's ending. We lost to Clarkson. There were some Minnesotans that played big roles in that game as well. But for Penn State, I think we talked about him a little bit last year, but if you look at their roster, it's not Gavin McKenna who is at the top of the scoring chart, and it's also not Aiden Fink. It's actually Charlie Serrato and JJ. Do you say Webush? He's a Wisconsinite. I don't know.
Wybush. I coached JJ. Okay. I coached JJ in 2015.
Yeah, they're leading the scoring right now for Penn State. It's not the guys some people think.
JJ's tearing it up. I mean, he had 6 goals, doesn't he?
Yeah, he has 6 goals, leading the team in goals, and then Charlie Serrato's got technically the most points, but JJ's got the most goals. So they're kind of the ones who are leading the charge right now for Penn State.
I think JJ's from River Falls.
I believe it's
something
River
like
Falls.
that. It's one of the River Falls, Chippewa Falls.
Yeah, he had all 4 goals on Thursday for Penn State.
Yeah.
So you talk about it like
Penn State, by the way, was so upset about that loss, they went and fired their football coach.
They were so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, Wybush had 4 goals Thursday, and he had a goal and an assist on Friday. So he tore it up. I don't know if everybody else just was having a tough weekend or what. But then Clarkson also notably, their D3 transfer from Curry College got the win.
Love that.
Shane Soderwall, who played, I think, NA3 and then NA, null. So I love seeing guys like that doing well. That's crazy.
So is your neighbor, how many points did he have this weekend, Talon Sigurdsson?
I know he had a goal. I don't know how many points, but I know he had a goal because I saw that online. So I know he had one, and I think, who's the other one? There were some other guys, too, I know. Oh, I think it was Tristan Sarsland either had multiple assists or a goal as well.
Well, he runs the power play. I watched the game Thursday.
Sure.
Because it was the game that led into the Gopher BC game and on Big Ten Network. So I got to see 4 hours straight of college hockey. It was fun.
Well, and then the other surprising one was New Hampshire splits with Michigan State. It was kind of a crazy game. I didn't watch it, but I saw the highlights of New Hampshire scored with, I think it was 3.8 seconds left to win. Yeah. And the guy who scored it actually slightly Minnesotan tie, not really, Marty Lavins, who's a Latvian, I believe, former St. Cloud State recruit, actually.
Really?
And then decommitted, went to New Hampshire instead, scored the game winner for New Hampshire. So huge win for them.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that's one of those where it just must have been I don't know. It
was there a banner or something being raised or
maybe so?
Was this in East Lansing or was this in?
Oh gosh, let me look.
Was it in?
I don't know. Let me look.
Manchester? Is that where? Is Manchester where New Hampshire is? The school, UNH?
University of New Hampshire is in Durham.
Durham, thank you.
Durham, yeah, yep. Let me see here.
Since they don't have any national championships, they couldn't have been hoisting any banners.
New Hampshire so far is they split with Michigan State, and the scores were actually both close, and they were in East Lansing. They won 4-3 Thursday, and they lost only 2-0 on Friday. So they were both like fairly close.
So maybe Michigan State was hoisting a Big Ten championship
and it
banner.
wasn't like, again, the guys you think of for Michigan State. It says Friday the scores were Matt Basgall and Patrick Geary. So it wasn't like the like crazy big, names on their team either, which is kind of
They have
crazy.
a lot of big names on that roster, that's for sure.
So that's kind of wild. But then we might as well get to our Minnesota teams. A lot of them were in action, a lot of interesting scores as well. Minnesota, you guys can talk about this. I watched a little bit of this game as well. I put split kinda because you never know what to say with ties for shootouts, especially non-conference shootouts because
I consider it a tie.
But they split kinda, I guess, with Boston College. They lose one game and then they get a shootout win. But the big thing is they break the curse. And I know, Jess, you tweeted about the last time they had a shootout goal. We talked about it on the last show too. So that was like the main news.
We broke the
week.
curse last week. It's all because of us, Jess.
It's a great story too. I don't know if you watched the game, but they go to overtime, and Minnesota probably should have won the game in overtime. They had a lot of pressure late in the third. They had a lot of pressure in overtime. BC is a really good team, so no shame in having to go to a shootout. And okay, so we get ready for a shootout. It's like, boy, here we go again. Who's going to flub it up this time? Well, Bob Motzko says he's thinking in his head, maybe I'll go with the young guys. The freshmen don't know anything about the streak. They've never watched Jimmy Snuggerud and Logan Cooley and Matthew Nyes and yada, 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 yada not score on a shootout. They don't know anything about it. He said he looked down the bench and LJ Mooney already had one leg over the board. So it's just like, I'm going. I'm taking the shot.
Yeah.
And this was a great Motzko story, and we're all thinking World Juniors now because he's going to coach that in just a couple months. But he said the only other time I'd seen that outdoor game at the World Juniors in Buffalo, 60,000 fans watching them play Canada, and Matthew Tkachuk did that. They go to a shootout, and Tkachuk just says, I'm taking the shot. I'm not going to argue. Just get out of the way.
Yeah, was that the game they played in the snow, didn't they, Jess?
Yep. Well, it was Buffalo. So
Buffalo pretty much snows the whole time.
It was actually in June, and it was snowing. Because it's Buffalo.
Yeah, pretty much.
I feel like it's worked out pretty well in the past of guys or girls that are so confident about their shootout shots, then they score them. Because even in the women's national championship game last year, with who was that? Was it Sims or Hall who had the penalty shot?
Yeah. Oh,
weren't they like, who
Kirsten
wants it?
Sims. She's like, me. I got this.
Yeah, I feel like it's worked out well in the past of people who are so confident that they're like, let me take it. I know what I'm doing, and then it works out well. So that's always cool.
So I ran into Brett Larson on Sunday. His son was playing in the Prep Elite League, and we were talking about shootouts and the Gopher thing and players and who he liked on his team and everything. And he goes, yeah, I got this Tanner Henricks. He's really good. I really like the way he's. I'm like, oh, here's a little known fact. Tanner played for me for 3 summers. And whenever we got to shootout, he always led. He never missed. He had like 11 shootouts in like 3 summers. He always scored. You'd go in practice. He'd never missed, right? He looked at me. He goes, I might have to log that in my brain right now.
Yeah,
I'm like,
for the future.
Telling you, he will not miss. He's got 2 moves, unlike TJ. He's got 2 moves that are automatic. It was so fun to watch.
Well, so going back to the Minnesota thing, so they get a shootout win, which was the huge thing. They break the curse, so that's kind of like, okay, awesome, love that. And then obviously they lose the other night, but again, BC is a really good team because what were they in the polls before this week? 11 and 12.
It was 11 versus 12, yeah.
So really close game. One of the good things too is Leo Gruba. They said his injury wasn't too bad last week because he left one of the games like 2 weeks ago.
He played this weekend. I don't think he looked great, but he was out there, which helps.
I saw a tweet that said that Bob said he could have played in the game he missed that one time, but they were being cautious. So luckily that wasn't a big injury.
Right, that is good news, huge news.
And Javon Moore scored his first career goal. So shout out from Minnetonka. Love to see it. So that was a big one.
One kind of cool thing there, by the way.
Yeah.
I was at 3M Arena at Mariucci. It was a Friday night for the second game. The Wild weren't playing. I think about half the Wild roster was at that game, including Bill Guerin. He's a old BC guy. Matt Boldy was there to see the BC people. Zach Bogosian was there with his family. Zeev Bouillum, who knows some of those guys from their time on the U.S. under-18 team together. It's just really cool. Faber was there showing his buddies the Gopher locker room and stuff. So
that's
kind
cool.
of fun thing that way.
That is
and just
really
a little
cool.
good-natured ribbing. I like Bob Motzko. I respect the heck out of Bob Motzko. Anytime they would lose a shootout game, his comment always was, well, it's gimmick hockey. It's just gimmicky. Well, he didn't mention that the other night after they won one. So.
Of course. Well, so that was, some good, some bad. And I think we've said this before, too, maybe not on camera, I don't know. But of just the Gopher team, there's a lot of new faces, and they had a lot of people sign pro after last year. So it might be an up and down season. Whenever teams have a lot of new guys, a lot of fresh faces. So if anybody thinks the world's ending, it'll probably be fine. It just might take a little while to see kind of what's going on with the roster stuff.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a while for them to get it. But
Yeah.
I think Bob probably likes this better than being the prohibitive favorite in the conference for the last 3 years, 3 to 4 years. What are your thoughts on that, Jess?
He never really seems to let that part of it bother him. Don't ever ask Bob Motzko about polls because you'll get an eye roll and you won't get an answer. But yeah, maybe, kind of being under the radar. I think they were in that position last year, and lo and behold, made a strong push at the end of the season and won a share of the Big Ten title. And then kind of ran out of bodies after that. But I don't think he minds being a little under the radar, a little lesser expectations. And I tell you, he does like this team. We've asked about the whole major junior thing, the fact that they're not really in that game at all. And he just says, hey, I like what we have here. I like what we have in the pipeline. If we need to go that route, we'll go that route. But he doesn't think they need to do that right now.
Well, so that was just a fun series to see. It's always fun to see teams that are right next to each other in the polls play, and always cool to see teams like BC make the trip out to Minnesota and play, because that's
their second trip in 2 years. They were in St. Cloud last year.
So love to see those.
I think they're going to get into some reciprocation here pretty soon. I don't see it on the Gopher schedule, but maybe on St. Cloud's next year.
Yeah, maybe they'll do something like that. I don't know. But so that was Minnesota. UMD and Augustana. I know Augustana's not technically a Minnesotan team, but they might as well be.
I consider them a Minnesota team, even though it's by definition in South Dakota.
UMD and Augustana split. The Bulldogs get a 4-1 win on Friday, and then they lose 4-0 on Saturday. The Vikings definitely have the Grand Rapids connection down. Hunter Bischoff had 2 goals. Joey Del Greco had a goal. So they're scooping up the Grand Rapids guys, I guess, but I don't know. I didn't watch.
And they're all
much
2
of
on
the
8s.
Series,
They're all 2 on 8 guys.
Yeah, but this was
except
interesting.
Svendal. It seemed like they're all from up north.
These were a lot of northern kids playing each other, but I didn't watch a ton of this series.
I didn't either.
But
I kept an eye on it though.
Interesting though that they split, and I think Augustana, like they were last year too, is going to be a tough team, and I think Duluth too. Some people were kind of sad because Duluth, been a little up and down here the last 2 seasons or so, but I think Duluth and Augustana are going to be tough teams this year.
Yeah,
they both got some good and some things to work on as well.
It's based on the amount of Minnesotan kids. You got to like these teams. I'm keeping a close eye on both of these teams all season long.
Yeah, so I didn't have a ton of notes on that one. I also don't have a ton of notes either on Minnesota State Mankato. They played Nebraska Omaha, and it's kind of funny because that's like the Maverick
Cup, I think it's
I
called.
don't even know what they want to call it, Maverick Cup?
Or it's the Maverick Trophy or
Maverick
something
v.
to do
Maverick.
with that.
But they actually lose 6-2 on Friday, and then Saturday they win 4-1, so another split.
A lot of splits.
And Omaha is one of those teams I just don't know what to think because they had a lot of, I want to say it was U Sports guys coming in, so they're kind of the
major junior,
experimental team of like, how are these guys going to do? I don't know. And Minnesota State, too, this year, I could see them being really good in the CCHA, but I'm also kind of like, well, we'll see. I don't know, because now the CCHA has, like, St. Thomas in it, and Augustana's going to be good, so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Here's an interesting take, going back to Augustana for a second. I mentioned this on our Monday morning commute. Somehow Joe Moline got me, I don't know how he got me on this track, but on the track of Bob Motzko and if his job safe or something to that effect. And I said, well, Gopher fans get restless pretty easily, as Jess knows. And he said, well, who would be, and then I said, well, that reminds me, I had a buddy at a tailgate party this weekend asking me the same question. And he goes, who would be the likely replacement? And I said, well, if you ask me, I think that Garrett Raboin is. And of course, my buddy who claims he knows a lot about hockey goes, who's that? And I'm like, well, he was Bob's assistant for a long time, both at St. Cloud and then again at Minnesota. Now he's at Augustana. And he goes, where's that? And I'm like, oh my gosh, you have no idea what you're talking about. And then I kept talking about Augustana, how great it is and how it's an up-and-coming program and how good job Garrett's done there. And then he goes, what's the difference between Augsburg and Augustana? And I was like, oh, my God, can we just stop this conversation now?
Yeah.
But I think that he would be unless there's some former Gopher out there that I don't know about, but if Bob were to retire or be relieved or whatever, who would be the next guy in charge? Jess, what do you think?
Has Grant Patalny retired?
He's working in the AHL right now.
Yeah, I think he's at AHL.
I still think he's on the short list.
Okay. All
you
right.
know, the idea was he was going to go to Northern Michigan. He was going to be a huge success in college, and then he was going to slide in to the Gopher job whenever Bob decides to retire. Didn't happen that way, but I still think he's on the short list. And this is what I find interesting, though. Bob Mutzigo's mid-60s now. I kind of thought we'd be looking at his last year or two on the job, not performance-based, just because he's going to want to retire and move on to other things in his life. I asked him about it this summer, and he said, you know what? He said, I'm having fun. I'm enjoying what I do. The results are there. And until, he said, at this point, there's no reason to think about anything else in his life.
Yeah, Grant's currently the head coach of the Hartford Wolfpack of the AHL.
It's the Rangers.
Well, it said
affiliate.
That was 24-25. Did they update this, or is he still?
As far as I know, he's still there.
I'm pretty sure he's still there.
Okay, just because I know they don't update the coaching ones on Elite Prospects all the time. We'll see.
If you talk to Grant Patalny, you're guaranteed a good story. He's got a story about everybody, and he's a very funny guy. He'd be a good candidate for the job, no question.
Well, kind of circling back to the Maverick v. Maverick, the one notable I did have was Simon Latkozy in the game that they won for UNO, stopped 47-49. He's a very good goalie. I'm glad he came back to play for Omaha because he's a fun guy to watch. Even though I want, the Minnesota teams to beat Omaha, he's fun to watch because he's good.
I saw him at the Icebreaker last year in Vegas.
If you look at the box score, let me see, was this Friday or Saturday? I think this was Friday. All of the goals, power play goals. No, this was Saturday. 4-1. Men's State beats Omaha. All power play goals in that game.
Yeah.
Only power play goal. That you don't see that very often.
That puts a lot of pressure on the refs.
A lot of penalties I see on here as well. That's interesting. That one must have got a little chippy. And then it looks like some of their new guys for Omaha did do pretty well, so I'll be interested to see if they keep making an impact because I know the major junior guys are going to do well, but the U Sports guys is kind of my question mark
it's
of
a definite question mark.
Where does that balance out in all the leagues? I don't know.
Ryan, how many minutes into the show are we right now?
Just crossed the 30-minute mark.
And Sydney has
Perfect.
not talked about St. Cloud State yet.
No,
is everything okay?
I'll do it right now.
All right, yeah, I knew it. I was like, wow.
Well, so it's two Minnesota teams, so we can talk about both of them here. St. Cloud played Bemidji State. St. Cloud wins both games 3-2 and 4-2. Kind of an interesting series. I thought it was two fun games to watch, honestly.
Yeah.
I think if you're a Bemidji State fan too, I don't think they played really bad. I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit with both games. There was some just dumb tripping penalties that they took that I was like, oh, I don't know if they maybe tried to take that trip, but just penalties where you're like, oh, they're just one after another. So I don't think they necessarily played bad. There was just moments where I'm like, oh, you guys just took 3 penalties in a row. Obviously, that's not going to help you. But I think people are going to be surprised by St. Cloud State this year. I really like their roster. Some notables from that series, St. Cloud State junior center Werner Miettinen is going to be out for a couple weeks, it sounds like. I heard both upper and lower body, so I'm not sure which one it is. I heard that from a couple different sources.
That'd be a bad deal.
I don't think it's both. I
have upper
I don't
and
know
lower body
yeah,
issues.
I think it's just one, but he's going to be out for a while. But because of that, Minnesotan Aiden Welch got to play, so that's cool.
That's good.
Adam Ingram returns from his team academic suspension, whatever that meant. Sophomore D, Issa Parek, is out from Bemidji State. I don't know what it is, but it sounds like he is out for right now. First career goals for Nolan Rode and Tanner Henricks. Good to see those. Noah Ernest scored a second career goal, so love to see the Minnesotans get in on everything, especially as freshmen. And then the other big notable was Adam Flameng had a really scary situation on Saturday. There wasn't really a replay going around because they didn't show the hit. After it happened, they did not show him on the ice. It was very... I was watching the stream.
It stopped play for 15 minutes, didn't it?
It was a long time. So there was a play happening, and I didn't think it was a malicious hit. Tanner Henricks was skating to go get him. They collided, and he's a big guy too.
Yeah, he is.
But it wasn't. I don't think it was like an intent to injure or anything like that. They collided, and Flameng immediately, you could tell, just went limp. I think he must have got knocked out or something because all of a sudden everyone was like, trainer.
Brett was saying when we were talking about Tanner, he's like, yeah, I think he might be missing a game or two.
I don't know because
that was Brett on Sunday morning. It might have changed.
They gave him a 5, but the thing is, they didn't show the replay. Like, I saw someone who clipped it on Twitter, but it's really hard to tell because the shot was like a wide shot of the whole ice, and then they didn't show the replay because obviously you don't want to show it if you didn't know like what state he was in at that time. So hard to tell from my view, but I don't think, because I also listened to the Brett Larson show that Jim Erickson posted from, I think it was last night, and I think he also said too, like, I don't think Tanner was trying to throw like a hard hit. They didn't call a penalty originally on the
Then
play,
he got a 5 though,
and then they gave him a 5. So I don't know what they have for ref cameras that they could have seen, but that was a scary situation. But I just saw from Jared from the Bemidji Pioneers said that he's gonna be okay, and I saw a couple people post rumors, not confirmed, but it sounds like maybe a concussion. Yeah. So that's good. It's not a spinal anything because it was scary to watch on TV. I was a little concerned. So good that he's not.
Can you pronounce Jared's last name?
I think it's Rubato.
I don't know. Jess, can you pronounce Jared's last name?
I cannot.
Well, shout out Jared because I was looking at his tweets.
I was covering a section. I don't remember which one. It was up in Thief River Falls, and he was, like, you could spot a journalist from just some punk like me.
Yeah.
And he was tapping the entire game. He was going to town, and I'm up shooting pictures and then tweeting and stuff like that. So I'm kind of a little bit different. And I lean over and I go, "Are you Jared?" And he goes, "Yeah." "Are you Tony?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And we met or whatever. He knew I was. I knew he is. But I didn't catch how he pronounced his last name. I just know he's Jared from Bemidji guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, so that's what I saw from that series. I don't know if you got anything else from Brett, Tony, but I think St. Cloud will be good this year, and the freshmen are already looking.
He loves Ernest and he loves Road.
Yeah, they look really good. But I think too, if you're a Bemidji fan, I wouldn't freak out too much about this weekend because I just think there was too many things piling up. But I don't think they're going to be like bad.
Well, try to tell an Italian guy from Coleraine, Minnesota, not to freak out too much. Good luck with that.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously you don't want to get swept, but I think they just had a couple unfortunate things. I didn't think they looked like bad. It was just like, oh, there's another trip. Oh, there's another. Oh, there's a hook. Oh.
Yeah, string of them.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those games for both of them, both nights. But so that was that series. St. Thomas plays North Dakota. St. Thomas swept by North Dakota. Will Zeller's first career goal. Shout out the great pictures from Andrew Redder.
Unbelievable.
Amazing.
He killed it. Awesome. And you know what? He's going up to North Dakota too.
Nice.
And then he shoots a bunch of pictures for North Dakota. It was great. Yeah. So that's the fun part about our job is the SID from North Dakota who's gotten to know Andrew from him coming up this weekend, and he's like, "Hey, can you shoot some pictures for us tonight at the St. Thomas game?" And sure, and it all worked out. We're gonna get a bunch of access to the Ralph. Is it this weekend, right? Yeah, UMD's the next weekend. I get the two series mixed up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so North Dakota. Go for it.
I was just going to say a couple of quick observations there. I was not at there I go. I owe myself a
You did it.
We're all going to do it.
I was not at Grand Casino Arena. People who were there said about 6,000 to 7,000 realistically in attendance. About 4,000 of them North Dakota fans. Get that new building open, St. Thomas. You need it.
It's funny you should say that during this podcast, I get a text from Leon Haywood saying, "When are you coming over?" I'm guessing I'm not getting an invite to his house in Woodbury. I'm guessing that's an invite to the Lee and Penny Anderson Arena. So I'll probably get over there soon to check it out before they go live.
The other thing I'll say, speaking of those pictures, fantastic pictures. NHL, what do we got? 32 teams. How does nobody wear purple? It's a great hockey color.
Yeah.
I went, thank you for that shout out to Southwest there. Appreciate that. Where I can name where I went to high school on this show.
Well,
Absolutely.
so that was that series there. One notable, or a couple notables that I saw. One, obviously, we all know Lucas Wallen, really good player for St. Thomas. I just saw some tweets that there wasn't any updates on him because it sounds like, I want to say it was the Sunday game. In the third period, he crashed into the net and then went down the hallway. So hoping he's okay. Obviously, that's a guy you really don't want to be hurt for your team because he's going to be a main guy for them this year. Really good player, already scored a lot this year. And then freshman forward for UND, Cole Reshney, who's a first-round draft pick this summer, according to Schloss, was 15-2 on faceoffs Sunday.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you have another face-off note? Someone was like 16-0 or something like that?
I saw a couple. There was a couple freshmen, and normally you don't see freshmen coming in, especially young freshmen, centers coming in and like winning all these face. That's rare. So that's maybe that's why he's a first-round pick. 14-0 Cole McKinney
14-0
from Michigan.
God. Yeah.
So
he's
that's
a heck of a player.
Yeah, that's crazy. But that was the UND St. Thomas notables. North Dakota, a lot of new players this year, but definitely a talented team, and that would be some wins there for Dane Jackson, some good ones. Just some other notables. I can just run through these here, and if you have any thoughts, you can chime in. Air Force and Denver tie 1-1. Shootout win for Denver. Grand Rapids' own Carter Clafton, 58 saves, which is the most by an Air Force goalie in the conference era, which is since 1999. Isn't that just... I
think it's crazy. Jess, do you think it's funny, and I tweeted this when I was in Vegas last year, do you think it's funny that Coach Saratori has who's from Greenway, has a kid from Grand Rapids playing for him, or is that just me?
Oh, no. I mean, you get those weird connections all the time.
I love that.
It's fantastic.
I love it.
I was excited for him, too, because I remember I wrote a story back when he committed to Air Force, and he was one of those guys where, he had to scrap his way through juniors. I think he got cut from 4 or 5 NOL teams.
Really?
Yeah, before he ended up sticking in wherever it was, a NOL South team, and then got his commitment. And he's one of those guys where you could have just quit after getting cut from any of those teams.
Yeah.
And he just kept going to camp, didn't make it, kept going to camp, get traded. And then it was like he just kept going. And I was like, that's cool to see guys like that succeed.
I love seeing that.
Yeah, had to work
and
for that.
Back to your original question, I love when there are those high school rivalries that play out at the college level. None more so than when Bob Motzko took over as St. Cloud State's head coach, and he noted the fact that Craig Dahl from Albert Lee was leaving and Bob Motzko from Austin was taking over.
The 507 reigns, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, another notable that we briefly joked about before the show, according to, I think it was Schlossman tweeted this, was that it sounded like Air Force was having staffing issues to stream their games due to the government shutdown. So I don't even think the Denver game was streamed.
That's awesome.
Anywhere. And I don't know if their other game was streamed either. So I don't know.
Unbelievable.
I don't know how all of that works.
The lengths that the shutdown goes to.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know any details about that. So if anyone knows any further info, let me know. That's so interesting.
That's hilarious.
Because I remember Denver tweeted something like, "We're going old school. It's radio only tonight." And I was like, could you imagine listening to this 1-1 tie? That'd be awesome.
No, it wouldn't be. It would not.
Well, because it'd be like so tense.
Oh yeah.
Like, where's Air Force? Like, the bus driver. He's not working. The government shut down.
Mom and Dad had to drive him to the game.
Yeah, I don't know. And then just a Minnesotan, I saw that Brendan McMorrow, it says, is week to week with an upper body injury, so hopefully he gets back on the ice here.
AKA Shorty. That was his nickname when he was a kid. Everyone called him Shorty.
Because obviously he's a good player, so definitely, hopefully he can heal from whatever that is soon. Note on Miami, they swept Fair State first week. Now they sweep RPI. 4 wins is now more than their entire win total last year. Fun fact.
Is anybody surprised? Are you
We're
propping these
definitely
guys
not
up?
on the pod.
I'm not surprised.
Well, and also the youngest player in the nation, Ilya Morozov, I believe he's the youngest or second youngest, up to 7 points in 4 games. And he's like
6 goals or 5 goals?
Ooh, let me look. But
he's got like Weebush like numbers.
He's a 2025 draft eligible who came in young, and he's just killing it. And he's also big. He's 6'3", 205. He's 17.
That's incredible.
And he just turned 17 in August. He's not like I'm going to turn 18.
August 08.
Yeah, and he's got 3 goals, 4 assists in 4 games for Miami.
And where's he from?
He is
Europe, right?
He's from Russia, but it says he played a year of AAA for the Windy City Storm. So
Holy
I don't know if he's been here
smokes.
for a little while.
Imagine what he was doing to U16 hockey last year.
I don't. Well, it said he played 15U, USHL, Miami, Ohio.
Oh, okay. So he
1 year USHL.
So he played for the Tri-City Storm last year? Or where did he play
Windy
last
City
year?
Storm, 15U, then Tri-City last year.
Yeah, okay.
And
That
then
makes sense.
Miami. So just.
So what they did is they drafted him out of Russia, brought him in, played 15U, and he was ineligible to play in the USHL, and then came in as a 16-year-old.
Yeah, I don't know. But
that's impressive.
he's just turned 17, and he's tearing it up. So that's wild. Providence versus Michigan.
Just a side note here.
Yeah.
David, I'm totally drawing a blank, Nyes, was at Tri-City before he joined the pro. This is the coach.
Anthony Noreen was.
Yeah, and Noreen too. So they had a line on this kid,
I'm
2
sure,
to 3 years ago. So kudos to that coaching staff.
I think he was a tender. I think he was a USHL tender. Yeah.
Yep. So they knew exactly who this kid was.
Yeah, so he's in August, and then Keaton Verhoff from North Dakota is the other young guy in college, or one of the other ones, and he's a June 08. So technically Morozov is a bit younger.
That's incredible.
That's wild. And even Verhoff, too, he's got 2 points in 2 games, so doing all right so far. Providence versus Michigan, that was a top matchup this week. We already said Cole McKinney 14-0 on faceoffs, and Minnesota and Josh Ernest 2 goals in a game. And I saw a tweet, I want to say it was from Mark Diver maybe, who said NHL scouts were definitely looking at him.
Well, he's definitely got the NHL body.
He's big.
He's got the body, no question.
Well, back to other things. If you guys have thoughts on this, I don't know if you saw this. The first few athletes.
Just a quick note on Michigan.
Yeah.
For how many years now have we been saying, man, if Michigan had a goalie, if they could play any defense, what? Jack Ivankovic, freshman goalie out of Mississauga, Ontario, 3rd star of the week in the Big Ten this week, and all of a sudden it looks like Michigan has plugged one of their gaping needs.
Oh, I've seen that kid play 15, 20 times. So I'm not surprised. He was a superstar youth hockey player. Not surprised at all by his success. Yeah. But I didn't realize he was, I think he's one of those OHL kids, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I think Michigan's going to be good this year, too, because of that.
Played for Brampton last year.
Yep.
Yeah.
OHL.
So that was a big one, and I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but the first few athletes selected to the Spengler Cup roster, it's Alex Tracy from Minnesota State, the goalie, Aiden Fink from Penn State, Joey Muldowney from UConn, and Jake Livanovich of North Dakota. Any thoughts on those guys, or who else you think might be added to the roster in the weeks or months to come?
This is all college hockey players?
College hockey players, and I think you can't be a freshman. I think they said they wanted all guys who are not, freshmen. I thought I read that somewhere. So it's going to be, more of the seasoned college hockey guys.
I'm going to go Cruz Lucius, who had a hat trick last weekend.
Okay, that'd be a solid pick.
And though I was trying to go through guys that are older and who played the program that aren't in the NHL, because it seems like USA Hockey is infatuated with their precious little NTTP kids.
Very true. Yeah, Jess, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on any of the guys who might be added to this, or any possible guys you'd like to see added to it?
Haven't given the Spengler Cup a lot of thought. Just to back up 1 minute, I will talk about just a little about Josh Ernest. Nice career he's made for himself. Had a really good freshman year at St. Thomas. Probably should have been more in the mix for CCHA Rookie of the Year, his first year there. And then kind of blindsided the St. Thomas coaches. Middle of May, he walked into their office and just said, hey, want to thank you for a good year. I'm headed to Michigan. And I know there's maybe a little bit of bitterness still about that, but you knew he was going to be a good player. Smart kid. He's in the Ross School of Business at Michigan. And doing well academically and on the ice. So cool to see him succeed.
Well, I'm interesting choice of words, Jess. You said blindsided, because I think I've heard a rumor that a certain coach from a certain school blindsided a certain coach from a certain school, but I'm not going to name names or schools. Just leaving it out there.
So you heard that thing about the guy in the place?
Yes, it was an interesting place.
Wow.
It was at the spring meetings. I'll say it was at the spring meetings in Naples, Florida. I'll just say that.
That is a legendary story about
a certain coach from a certain school.
A head coach and an assistant coach exchanging words. Let's say.
We'll just say that.
Well, moving on to other notable things here. We talked about this a little bit before the show. Notre Dame, one of their coaches, Andy Slaggert, said that he's going to be departing the team pretty soon here to pursue a professional opportunity. And I don't know if it's been officially announced, but it looks like a lot of people are tweeting that it sounds like he's going to be joining the Oilers organization.
Or he could be on Dancing with the Stars. One of the two.
Well, that would be... Wow.
It could be. I don't know. Who knows? But he's been there forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah, it says spending the last 32 years.
Oh, my God. It's amazing.
It's a long time at Notre Dame. It's a long time. But it sounds like likely to go to the Oilers org, but I don't think anything's official. I haven't seen any official announcement yet. And it sounds like he's planning to depart at the end of the month, so he'll still be here for a couple more games.
If he were in a scouting role, ex-Gopher assistant coach John Hill is also a scout for the Oilers, which would be an easy slide into a scouting role, just like, those guys, those assistant coaches doing all the recruiting, they know every player, every database of athlete from 16 years old all the way to 27 years old. It'd be a great hire for the Oilers.
Well, and this is from the Twitter account Hello Hockey Show, but they said that it sounds like likely joining Oilers hockey ops department in scouting capacity, Stan Bowman connection to his time with the Fighting Irish in the 90s.
Yep.
So we'll see if there's an official announcement at the end of the month. Don't know. But then Summit scorers, I don't know if you had any specifically you want to talk about.
I already gave you the Cruz Lucius hat trick, right?
Yeah, Cruz Lucius. Well, that's a
Gavin
mouthful.
Best had a hat trick.
Yep.
And I think there was another one, wasn't there? I feel like we had a couple hat
Eric
tricks.
Polkamp
From the blue line.
Yeah.
God, that's incredible.
A few other ones that were either first career goals or just guys that don't score much. Will Schumacher, first and second career goals.
Goal a night for him.
Percy Hurst. We already said Will Zeller's first career goal. Guy you don't see a ton on the score sheet, Jacob Jeanette for Union.
That's the kind I love seeing those, Duluth East kid.
Yeah. Bobby Cowan, first career goal for Western Mich. Wilson Dahlheimer scored again. For Lake State. Love that. Gavin Lindbergh, CC. Henry Nelson, Notre Dame. Isaiah Norland at Colgate, first career goal.
He's a transfer. He was at
UNO.
Yeah, UNO.
And fun fact, originally a Clarkson commit.
Yeah.
Actually, so that's cool. A lot of these are pretty
I like the ones like you're saying, the Henry Nelsons
Cole
who
Christian,
don't get a lot of
Air
goals.
Force.
Love that kid.
Love
that kid.
Charlie Lurie from Minnesota State against his old team, Nebraska Omaha.
Yeah.
That's fun. Connor Smith Union, that's another interesting one. And then Army, Adam Marshall, Nick Hong. I don't know. A lot of these other ones are pretty typical guys we talk a lot about.
It feels like
Teddy Lagerback for Stonehill. A lot of these other ones, though, we talk
pretty
about
much they fit into that Garrett Shifsky zone.
Max Plant. We're going to talk about them a lot.
Yeah, all the time.
Brody Zemer, stuff like that. So a lot of those. And then I don't know if you wanted to talk about the polls at all and just rankings, because I was just going to mention that I don't feel like any of the top teams this year are really speaking to me as oh, this is a national champion quite yet, because there's been a lot of upsets early. I don't feel super sold on a lot of these top teams. So I don't know. And I know you too. You were like, Quinnipiac's good.
Well, Quinnipiac has two good wins, but then you just quick to put a blanket on it, oh yeah, they lost to Providence and they lost to Alaska Fairbanks. I'm like, well, okay, so much for my Quinnipiac take. But I will say this: I looked up Boston University because I saw a bunch of polls came out, and they're number one, and they're playing number two, Michigan State, 1 versus 2. I'm like, this is the weakest 1 versus 2 I think I've ever seen. And again, Jess, I'm sure you could top me with a worse 1 versus 2 matchup ever, but this one doesn't really, lift the needle for me. How about you?
I mean, it's early in the season. What do we know at this point?
Nothing.
Nobody knows anything. So I wouldn't get too rattled about it. Last week was the first time BC and Minnesota have met when neither was in the top 10 in however many years. And I thought that was great hockey. I mean, those are two really good teams.
Yeah.
So, don't get too excited about the polls at this point in the year.
Yeah, I'm just looking at them and I'm just like, wow, I just don't feel like. Sometimes early in the season, I'm like, yeah, I got a good feeling about this team. And this year I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't. I don't know.
The team, like,
I don't know.
and we haven't. Go ahead, Jess.
All the consternation about Penn State getting beat. I'm in Texas right now, so I'm just going to quote the great philosopher Red McCombs. Remember him? He used to own the Vikings.
The Vikings.
Whenever the Vikings would have a bad loss, he would say the old saying from Texas is, "There ain't no horse that can't be rode, and there ain't no cowboy that can't be throwed." So nobody knows anything.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Red.
I wouldn't be surprised if this year is another year where it's just kind of like, okay, playoffs come and it's just going to be whoever gets hot right at that time, because I don't feel sold on a lot of these teams yet. I know it's early, so like obviously nobody really knows, but I don't have that feeling with a lot of teams quite yet. So
It's a college hockey, and Brett Larson and I were talking about, it's so much harder to predict, especially the rankings and the 4 stars and the 5 stars and all this stuff. Like, if you think about it, look at last year. I just keep going back to my buddy Andy Jones at Bentley. Like, they were a goal away from Ryan Leonard and James Haggins and Perot and those guys. One goal away with a minute to go in the first round of NCAA playoffs. Like, that's the narrow gap in this sport, which means you just got to be on for what's the number of games? It would be 6 straight games. You got to have your best game for 6 straight, and it's really hard.
Yeah.
The previous 30 you have a lot bearing, but not as much as the last 6.
Well, and then kind of just, unless you guys have any other thoughts before we wrap things up too, just wanted to talk about some of the upcoming matchups, or if there's any that stick out to you guys. Just some of the top ones I'll read off, and then if you have any that stick out to you, feel free to chime in. A Thursday, Friday one that's interesting. Minnesota State plays Wisconsin.
That's so fun.
That'll be a fun one.
I wish there were more kids from the Minnesota State era to playing that. That'd make it even more fun.
That'll be a fun one. And then Friday, Saturday, Boston U and Michigan State. That will be interesting.
Very good. 1 versus 2. 1 versus 2.
Maine, Quinnipiac. That's an interesting one as well. They're both top teams right now.
Yep, that's really good.
Let me see any other ones. Well, Minnesota, North Dakota, obviously.
The greatest rivalry in college hockey.
Obviously.
And you got it as the 5th.
Well, I'm just looking
list.
down the schedule because it's 7:07. So
no bias whatsoever.
So that one will be interesting. The other Minnesota teams, Minnesota, Duluth.
If I'm allowed.
Yeah.
Here we go.
If I'm allowed to be nostalgic for just a second.
Here we go. I love this.
Yes.
1998 Frozen 4.
1984. December.
Don't die on me now.
It timed out right when you were starting to talk.
Where do you go?
Like it had supermarket lighting, like the fluorescent tubes all across the ceiling. The band's playing 2 great hockey teams. I was hooked on college hockey for the rest of my life. My favorite game I saw. So this rivalry is the best.
You broke up there. Can you tell that story one more time? You literally froze at 1984. You went 1984. Comedic. You had your finger up, and I'm like, and then you just froze until the supermarket lights lit up, and we didn't hear anything between that.
Well, it was my first college hockey. Minnesota at North Dakota. Sophomore in high school. I was hooked on the game forever.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Dead Gophers everywhere?
No. Absolutely.
There were dead Gophers everywhere.
17 below outside, too, because it's Grand Forks.
Well, so obviously that's a big one. The other Minnesota teams in action would be St. Thomas plays Air Force. Minnesota Duluth plays Bemidji State. St. Cloud plays Vermont. That's kind of a random one. We're snapping at Ryan. But those are the other Minnesota ones. Arizona State plays Augustana. I think that might be interesting. And then another ranked matchup would be UConn, Ohio State.
Well, that's not bad.
It's just interesting, and I think all of these are 2-game series. Let me double check here.
Would it be cool if they put a 3-game series? That'd be even cooler.
But otherwise,
Friday,
I think
Saturday,
these
Sunday.
are pretty interesting. There's a chunk of interesting games this weekend, I think, in particular. Obviously, Minnesota, North Dakota, I think we all will be watching. But a couple good top-ranked matchups and a lot of the Minnesota teams in action for hopefully ones that they'll win. Hopefully St. Thomas, can beat Air Force. That will be interesting. And St. Cloud and Vermont, that's kind of random. I don't think Vermont's been to St. Cloud in
I don't think this last one was on you, Ryan. He just texted me. My Wi-Fi here just kicked me out again. Apologies. So I think this is a Wi-Fi issue.
Jess is in the hotel.
In the Motel 6.
Should we just wrap up soon because we're almost
absolutely.
at the end anyway.
I just have one more thing to show you.
Yeah.
And this is going back to Andrew's making the show a lot today, by the way. His North Dakota pictures get a shout out. Yeah. And then he made these beautiful then and now photos.
Oh, I saw those. Yeah.
And the one that got the most attention was Sam Larilla's picture where he's wearing his Gopher Camp shirt. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
It's Gopher Camp, North Dakota t-shirt, and then his headshot from Moorhead Pee-wees or something, right? Well, just so you know, I want to put this out there for the record. This picture with the Gopher Camp, we have 59 other photos.
Yeah.
59 other photos of Sam Larilla playing Bantams and NTDP, Fargo, USHL. We have a picture for Sam for every age and level. And Andrew just had to go and stoke the fire and put him in his Gopher Camp 7th grade picture just to kind of stoke the fire a little bit. Thanks a lot for that, Andrew. He didn't get a bunch of texts about it. No, I got all the texts. Like it was me posting that up there. But thank you, Andrew, for that. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I have anything else unless you do because we talked about the upcoming games and got through everything we needed to get through.
I think we got through it, and I think hopefully next time we could all be in the same room next time.
We could. We don't know when we're recording next. We should probably figure that out.
We'll figure that out. We'll catch up with that, and next week I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Thanks to our sponsors, the USHL and APX Hockey.
We're kind of like APX Hockey a little bit. We're getting better and better each week.
I love that.
Love it.